your back's backed up against the wall, and the bandwagon's falling right off, and you're hearing all the talk about maybe you should think about what you're gonna do if it don't work out. It ain't about if it makes sense, cause if the boot do it don't fit. As far as I can see, there ain't no way to be somebody if you just gon' quit. So if you gotta fight, don't lose it. If you gotta do it, die, dream, do it. If you got something to prove, go and prove it. Don't let nobody clip your wings. Keep your head down, keep on the blinders. Tune out the doubters and all the close minders. If it's in your blood, falling down ain't enough to change who you were born to be. Getting back up, that's the only backup plan you need.
Welcome back, Rico Moneybags, the channel helping you invest in yourself so we can invest in the future. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure the bell notification stays lit. Like that, you guys will not miss out. Man, I'm so happy to be on the live stream with you guys. We got special guest Blunt House that we're going to bring up in just a bit. We got markets kind of picking up a little bit. We don't know how long that's going to be sustained, but you know what? There's been a lot of consolidation right around the 65K, 70K BTC. This thing's either going to break down or break up. So we're going to be seeing that, right? If you guys can like, comment, and share, excuse me, we're going to have some fun right here. I'm even going to do a giveaway. Why not do a giveaway for the stream? If you guys can pull up right away and engage those who are pulling up, I mean, ASAP Scrito, that is greatly appreciated. And you know what? We're going to get this going, the giveaway tool, for those who have that bell notification lit right away. I'm actually going to put hashtag XPX because we did just accomplish something super bullish with setting out our goal to raise some funds, and we actually did it. I'm not surprised. We have one of the best communities in the space. Not to say that your community is not one of the best, but for sure, XPX pulled up super strong, and we did hit that goal, which is extremely bullish. We'll talk a little bit about that as we get the numbers up. We'll talk a little bit about Bitcoin, and then I'm going to bring Blunt up. But it's really important that we max engage, because you guys know that X right now has not been sending out the notifications, been making it very hard to shield the broadcasters and all that stuff. What's up, everybody? Welcome in, my beautiful people of cryptocurrency. Come in here, hashtag XPX right away. Welcome in, Sharon. Oh, man, thank you so much. But we're going to go to Blunt as well. Show his page really quick for, I mean, we're here. We're going to have him up as well, which is going to be extremely bullish. I'm going to talk really briefly about what XPX has accomplished, because it's one of the reasons why I'm feeling so bullish. Honestly, I'm feeling pumped up. There's some things working in the back, and we're going to execute this very, very beautifully done. And we're going to have some fun doing this, man. Crypto, hashtag crypto for good. Maybe I should put that too, man. I should have did that, because that hashtag, we can make that thing really, really trend. But if you guys can come over here, give Blunt House a follow. This is at BluntFourtwenty. Super important to come over here, get this knocked out the park right away. Don't even waste no time. Get the follows up. This is how you're going to find out if I'm not pulling up, if Bitcoin's bottom, if Bitcoin going to break out. This is how you're going to find out, because he's posting nonstop and giving you guys the nitty gritty of what's really going on. He also has some referral links that you guys can come check out, non-KYC exchanges that you guys can trade on, whether it's Wix or Weeks, however you want to pronounce it. The good Almighty, the one that I like, the BYD Fi. Oh my God, it's so good. We got Blowfin as well on there. Another great one, honestly. Blowfin's pretty good as well. And you got KC, or let's just go KCEX, right? So we got some options for you guys right there. But I got to give a big shout out to the XPX community while we get these numbers up, because I see that's who's in the chat right now. We're going to get Blunt up in a second. I know the numbers are going to, do what they do. We got some time on here for this live stream. I mean, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. And we got a super stream coming up too. I got some projects that are doing some really big things that we're going to talk about. But I got to come right here and give a big shout out to the XPX community. I mean, how bullish is this right here? We're celebrating. We hit our goal. We're trying to raise, not trying, we did. We did it. Raising $500 for the veterans and homeless here in Las Vegas, which we're going to do some really cool things with that. You guys are going to see. Obviously, we got the ability to create some content, share it out to everybody. That's going to be super awesome. But it just really goes to show. But, not only just giving a big shout out to XPX and the community, I want to let you guys know that we're not gatekeeping this. If you're a dog token, a cat token, or you have an emergency and you're trying to raise funds and you're trying to, create your own, GoFundMe, just like how you can go to GoFundMe and have people donate to your cause, you can actually do the same thing with cryptocurrency today. Yeah, you guys can do that. So whatever it is, we'll set it up for you guys. Set up a business account. Super bullish to do this. We have Veteran Token, who's just updated their widget all the way, accepting even more cryptocurrencies, which is absolutely amazing. But I think this is a great way where, you know, when the charts are figuring themselves out, that we can have hashtag crypto for good and we can have a real world impact. Because if you guys go check out GoFundMe, whether Bitcoin's at 126 or 68,000 or 72,000, people are still, you know, making a difference around the world, and we can do the same here in cryptocurrency. So big shout out to XPX, the community. You know, we're really doing big things, and you guys are going to be very excited. We're going to have more exposure to more people coming soon, right around the corner. API is being updated as we speak, fam. So let's come over here to the overall crypto market cap at $2.41 trillion market cap. Bitcoin just peeking over $70,000 BTC. Ethereum just peeking over that $2,000 Ethereum. BNB has actually been holding relatively strong, over 600, even going up to like 680 sometimes. But you know, the market has been in this little range that's not been that much fun. I've actually found a trade that I closed out. It started pumping again, but that's okay. I didn't chase it. We'll talk about that in a bit, and then we'll bring Blunt up. But this is going to be a lot of fun. We got XRP at 140. You know, everybody was buying it at 2 something, 250, 290. Hey, it's at a discount right now. This is, I mean, way cheaper. You probably wish, hey, I want to get it at 150. I wish I would have got it at 150. Well, guess what? It's at 140. It's even 10 cents cheaper. And shout out to CMC, and we are verified by them as well, and they do look out for our channel and push it out when we make a post on CMC. Look at this new update with all the moving little icons right here. That's pretty cool. We got BTC swiveling around. We got XRP doing his dance. You got Solana coming in like that. That's cool. That's cool. Hashtag XPX in the chat, fam. And we got a giveaway, and these giveaways have been pretty nice, fam, honestly. Let's keep making it happen for all of you guys. So let's scroll up really quick. Let's get this going. We're gonna have actually a pretty nice stream because we have the special, you know, BluntFourtwenty. But this is a trade that I found right here. I actually found this trade right here, and this is, I mean, you guys can see that even with just a 50 moving average, you could have found this trade. Obviously, I use some extra indicators to get in there just right. And actually, when I get a little bit spooked, this chop zone that I don't like, I got out of this, right? I was done with that. But this is a nice little trade that was right here, a little 140%er. Not bad, right? Kind of part of the giveaway. But then you see this little breakdown right here. But we're gonna get into the mix of it. What's nice is, you know, now I don't even chase these. I'm good on chasing. I got the great trade right here from here to here. That was nice. I'm good with that. I'm done. Go do something else. Drink some more coffee. Do some more meetings with Veteran Token, with some other great projects. Onboarding them with Kenji Token, with, you know, a lot of great projects. But because at the end of the day, I've been being cautious, because when we go to the daily chart, we've just been in consolidation. This is why I've been being very cautious, because nothing really exciting has been going on. This little chop zone right here, you know, all this little sideways motion has not been nothing too exciting. We're really waiting for like breakout confirmation, especially me. I love the 50. If it can get above that 50 and, you know, with some buy signals and start trading into this gap on the daily chart, you know, I wouldn't mind aiming along right here at 88,000. I'm not saying it's guaranteed to go there, right? Nothing we say today is financial advice. But what's nice is that it can go to this level for sure, right? 100% it can go to this level. If this and then that, right? Shout out to Blunt. And we got the numbers flying up right now. I'm going to bring our guest up and let him share the screen a little bit today. It's been kind of a long time coming, because it's been a little bit since we bumped into each other again. But it's nice to have you up. And I know the biggest question, I'm going to put him on the spot, you know, is like, is this the Bitcoin bottom? You know, this is an area where we could see this be the bottom. I'm going to put some stuff out there now. We're going to have them, you know, go against what I'm saying, test what I'm saying, all these good things. But, you know, this has been this very boring consolidation for quite a bit. You know, we broke underneath this, you know, is 56K a real thing, or are we breaking to the upside? But before we get into all that and share his screen, I'm going to say it one more time. Share the stream, fam. Share the stream. There's a giveaway running right now. Hashtag XPX, amazing community. Join the Telegram. And yeah, let's go ahead and bring Blunt up and not waste any more of your guys' time.
Hey, doing
great, man. Welcome up. So happy to have you back up here, man. I'm always like a little bit more excited than normal when you're coming on the streams, man. You have that effect when you're for sure.
Well, we're gonna try and have a little bit of fun today. Put some levity into the world for a few minutes, if we can. That'll be our contribution to the world.
Awesome. We're going to answer some hard questions, because I mean, I'm just putting it out there, it's a question that even you can ask yourself, right? Like, is this the bottom? And, this is why, like, even I told people touching grass or working off some higher time frames, you're not going to miss out on too much. Like, honestly, if you look at this market just marching to the side, it's been lately, yeah, we had a couple nice little legs up, but yeah, they came right back down, and then, yeah, it's going back up. But in all actuality, it's been a very, like, little boxed in thing going on right here, not too exciting going on. Where is this structure price going to hold? Is it leading to these bottoms counting, slowly going up? Are we going to have a breakout, or is it where this is just a fake out, a rejection on some higher time frame on some moving averages, and we come right back down to some quote unquote cheaper prices, we'll say, for the space? But if that's okay.
Well, I was looking at this chart earlier this morning, and if you flip to your weekly chart, this is why we use fractal analysis, right? So that we can look back on, time frame by time frame, so that we can understand what we might be coming up against, let's say on the daily chart, right? And the weekly, and maybe I can even...
I was cleaning this up and I'll bring it up, but you can also share your screen. I mean, that's of course.
Yeah, why don't I do that? I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the ticker? Welcome in, everybody. Let me do the chat overlay so you guys can see that we're watching you guys, man. And I want everybody to see that your words are being heard on this live stream. So we got the chat overlay. So everybody who watches the stream later on has to see what you guys are bullish on, whether it's XPX, BTC, or you're asking what's the ticker. Let me know in the chat, and everybody else is going to let you guys know as well. But let me go ahead and share this nice looking chart over here. Let me switch this up. Thank you, StreamYard. There we go.
Okay, you got that?
Yep.
All right. So let me just minimize that for 1 second. Okay. So this is the weekly BTC chart. Volume profile on the right-hand side. These levels here have been on this chart for a very long time. We've obviously come back to that. But what I want to point out is the T line, right? So here's the weekly T line. And let's say that's roughly 72.5. What I'm doing is I have to start to have a point of reference to see what my obstacles or resistance might be moving forward. When you look at this weekly chart, you're going to see, obviously, the T line is something we're going to have to contend with. And we understand why that's important, because of how price respects it and treats it, right? We don't want to be taking longs on the south side of the T line and 5 EMA, nor do we want to be taking shorts when you're trading on the north side of it. But we know this level is going to be a key level, probably resistance. We know that in order to break out of this slump, we got to start trading above it with momentum to drag that shorter term time frame indicator above it. So if we go to 72.5 on our daily chart, it's this level here. And boy, we can really get excited. We look at this volume gap and go, wow, is all I see is opportunity, which is true. That is opportunity. But this is where context becomes really important, right? So let's take a look at, that's not what I want. Where is it? There we go. That's the 50. What do we know? It's the first touch of the 50. Yep. So we understand that those first touches have a higher probability of failure. What else do we have going on here? The 1,000-day moving average. Now, I know we said before we're going to talk about oil today, but if you recall that story, it had a lot to do with the 1,000 days on the daily chart. And you can see it's behaving similarly to how price did up here at the 500. Just kind of, at least so far. So what's on the chart? This level of resistance. So we've got the weekly T line in here, the 50 MA, which is the first touch, and the continued resistance of the 1000 MA. So to answer the question, are we out of the woods yet? Not necessarily, right? Are we excited to have 3 green days? I guess so. But I mean, I just keep looking at this weekly chart. This is the one that's going to tell us if we're really out of this thing yet. And we're not. If we look at the Z-score, there's no relative strength here still. Right? And that's a problem. And look when all of this really became problematic. Here's our sell signal up here on the weekly. And as relative strength breaks 0, that's when it becomes an issue. So price is going to have a hard time moving up when it doesn't have relative strength behind it. It doesn't have that continuous support and desire to acquire that asset. It doesn't have it. We have to change trend first. And look, the T line and the 5 EMA is diverged down and to the right. So, you know, we're not out of the woods yet. I think what we're seeing is this bench, or sorry, this shelf here is really what price has to chew up before it can really make its next move. So I find that we're still bearish.
So you're saying we're not out of the woods, and potentially that there's some bears hidden in the woods that we might that while we're walking through these woods to keep an eye out for the grizz.
Yeah, and they're all wearing camo too to make it that much harder to see. So it's like, but I do think that we have to use a little bit of caution in here. So what are we saying? Just be patient, right? We're not telling you to do anything really difficult. Just be patient. Now, are there trades in here? Sure. You know, over shorter time frames, yeah, there's going to be trades, but this is where everyone over leverages, right? So the trend is still down. I do not like last week's candle. Let me just blow this up. That's about as gravestone doji looking as you're going to get. You know, I don't like how it popped up, wicked the T line, and then just ran away. So I'm having a harder time believing in this one until it gives me a reason to believe in it on this time frame.
Yeah, you know, it's been an ugly range, and you're not wrong for wanting to be cautious in this range. I'm not saying that trades don't exist. You don't have to wait an eternity to find a trade, because obviously, you know, it's not probably sustainable to wait 3 months for a solid trade to come to life on, you know, some of the higher time frames. But you know, you're not wrong for being cautious right now, because like you were saying about price chewing up this section, I kind of see that as well too, where like it's in this phase right now where, yeah, I mean, there's some incentives for it to break to the upside, but we can't ignore that there's also incentives for it to break to the downside. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that you can't monetize the chart both ways. Honestly, that's why, you know, for a while it was like either you're finding shorts or you're just waiting your turn for an actual long breakout, right? Because it's just been, you know, most of the shorts are the ones that are printing a lot faster, unless you're like long in gold or something like that, which I've been doing on BYD5. You guys can trade it as well. They got XAU USDT on there, which is pretty bullish with 0 fees currently right now. So definitely check that out as well. But yeah, I think that we're seeing this same like little price action right here. And, you know, obviously where price can go a little bit lower is, you know, heading to that 55,000 where everybody was talking about, and, you know, kind of doing the same thing again, where is it going to figure itself out there in that range and then break even lower, or start to turn around like everybody's hoping.
I want to just draw your attention to these 3 candles as well. So here's your first green candle, and, you know, it's obviously a nice candle. You got 2 equal bottoms, and you can see that there was some support down here at this lower level.
Yeah.
And it kicks higher. What do you notice about this candle and this particular candle that's followed that one? Do you notice how the bodies are shorter? Right? So That's your first candle. That's the largest body. Second candle doesn't have quite as much push. Third candle, you can really see it's doji-like, right? So I think you're starting to see this leg become a little bit tired as it approaches this resistance. So these are the little things that we kind of maybe take for granted when you do this for a very long time. You'll notice them and you might not even speak out loud about them, but you understand what you see, right? So
yeah,
big body, slightly less, significantly less, and you can kind of see that's maybe a little bit of momentum falling out, right? We don't know. We're just going to look back on a shorter time frame. There's the 4 hour to see what we're dealing with. I don't like, what are we? 40 minutes away on this candle closing, but I mean, I hope this doesn't make a lower high. Right? You just don't want to see that start to happen, but it's still bullish, right? Like there's your buy signal, even with this, big pullback, you hit the 50 and bounced, right?
Yeah.
Exactly what you would want to do. There's the first, you broke it here, first touch, boom.
Yep. There's tons of these little moments where it looks like it wants to. And I found some of these opportunities, where like you can see, and that's one thing, like the silver lining. I don't want it to be all doom and gloom because I see Saphir saying $8,000 BTC confirmed. We got a wild audience. These guys are unhinged sometimes. So there is some silver lining. Look, there's a lot going on around the world. There's a lot going on within the crypto market. There's a lot going on politically, right? There's and price is still relatively holding really well. If we go to silver lining mode and we don't, I don't want to put a dark cloud over anybody. Like, let's say if some of these things would change, like the prices of oil, all these kind of political tensions start to kind of go away, maybe that could be where people are saying, okay, I'm okay to buy BTC again because, I got some more clarity on what's going on around the world right now because, even with everything that's going on a daily chart, looking at BTC, if you go to your daily chart, just so you can see as well, if you don't mind, Blunt, and everybody else can see. I mean, that's with the news being different every single day and getting wilder and wilder. That has just been sideways trading essentially right there for like how many days is this actually? This is so for 34 days, it's just been basically going sideways on the bottom on the daily chart. Nothing too crazy, right? And it's like that's a lot to say with everything going on around the world. They're like, if some of this pressure kind of went away, maybe that would be enough to get people to start feeling bullish again because people are still being risky with some kind of, you see the poly markets volume still doing good, so there's money out there. It's just about people feeling like it's a good idea to put it into Bitcoin again and not put it all on red or black.
Yeah, I think this is where you get into a lot of psychology, a lot of market psychology.
Right.
What will people do with what they own if they really need the capital? Right? Things like that. I am just going to bring up oil as an example.
Yeah. And I know, like, one of the reasons I'm bringing this stuff up because it is like the topics that are on X right now, right? And I know we do what's told on the chart, and I try not to get lost in the sauce. I think I think, like, if I would give myself credit on something, it would probably be not to get divided too much with like getting lost in the sauce. Where like, I don't want to hate one particular group or the other one. Like, I've already had my own personal kumbaya moment with a near-death life experience, so it's changed me in a way where it's like, hey, I'm not trying to hate nobody, so but you see how this stuff is really affecting the way people are thinking, whether they're going to go long on the market, whether they're going to go short, when I've done a good job to also avoid a lot of that because it's very toxic too. Like I'll join a space and it'll start off like people trying to have a conversation, it'll start turning into a debate, then from a debate it turns on to a full-blown argument, and then you lost me right there, right? And it's like, and these big speakers in these spaces, you see them when a lot of people are kind of telling a lot of the masses about like how this stuff should affect the market. And that's why I bring this up to you, and I'm kind of because I know it's something we talk about like just doing what's told on the chart, but has any of that kind of influenced your your thought pattern lately with like how loud all this stuff is currently right now and with current price action?
So, in a word, yes. And I don't think that I'm any different from a lot of other people, right? Like, we are all looking for the information, the insight that's going to put us on the right side of where we want to be. What's going on in the world now, however, is something that I'm glad I didn't have to deal with when I was younger. Like, before I was, had some time in the real world as an adult, and before I knew TA. Because what we're dealing with now, I actually never thought I was going to see in my lifetime, to be honest. So that kind of uneasy feeling makes me want to take a deeper dive and look at what's going on in the world in a different way. Now, I tell everybody all the time, block out the noise. And a lot of this is noise. But you do have to have a macro understanding, I believe, of what's going on. And this is the rabbit hole that people can go down, right? It's very easy to hear what other people are saying. And it's very easy to take it as truth. And you have to be able to think for yourself. You really do. So what's going on in the world? Well, we have war, and that war is causing supply chain issues. The list goes on and on and on and on. And these are all things that markets don't like. Right? Chaos and indecision. Markets don't like that. So if you create an environment or you have a catalyst for chaos and indecision, well, at some point in time, sooner or later, the market will start to show you that it's getting a little tired of that. So that's part of it. What's going on with oil, if you're trading it, this is where being technical and rules-based is really in your best interest, because you have to deal with, and I'll just find the oil chart, you have to deal with some crazy volatility. Like, this is a 4-hour oil chart. It's not supposed to behave like this. Right? It's just not. There's the daily. So all of this panic creates a reaction in people. So this reaction here that we're seeing is based on what? Fear, the unknown, chaos, indecision. And the market's reacting accordingly. When you take a step back, and all of that being said, if you're following rules, you'd be trading through some chop. Then you finally get a move that starts to go somewhere. Right? And listen, you're happy with that, right? You're going from, mid 50s, mid 60s. Get a sell signal, you could take it off the table. This is all hypothetical. But all of a sudden, you get another signal and a nice green candle. Now let's pretend you're not listening to news. The market knew something was going on long before the rest of us did. And the chart was telling us that. This signal here, you don't know what comes after these candles, right? The current candle, you don't know. But all of a sudden, price goes parabolic. But why do you use a rules-based system like this? Because it gets you in at the right time without a lot of drama. Again, let's pretend we didn't know anything was going on in the world that could make oil go higher. Because all we know is that we got a signal and we took it. And we're happy with our trade, right? We're doing okay, and then boom, price goes nuts. The chart was telling us what we needed to know. All of the answers to your questions are ultimately on your chart, with the exception of where's gold going? what's going to be the high for gold? Where is oil going? What, you know, this isn't prediction markets, right? That's not really what we're doing here. This is what serious people do. The prediction market stuff is just gambling, right? That's a whole other thing. But that's not what we do. We just read what the chart's telling us. This is a language. Just happens to be the language of the market. It's all based on mathematics, and math is a language. And it's up to us to interpret what it's telling us. And that's what we're trying to do. And sometimes things get silly like this. Now, just for fun, okay, so I just took the 4 hour, took a swing low, swing high, just as fibs, right? There's 618 right here. Look where price came back to, 618. Yeah, did it press below? Sure. But I mean, if you were short up here, believing this was a top, and you were short to 618, congratulations. That's a beautiful trade. Fibs, fractals, filters. Here's your filter. Price was on the trading on the north side of all of this stuff. So you stay in the trade. That's an obvious impulse top, right? And because this move was so parabolic, look what it took to actually bring the shorter term average and pull it down through the T line. You know, it took 4 massive red candles to do that. And that's the elasticity and volatility that's built into this market right now. But technically, is all we did was take a buy signal, and then, oh, look what happened. This is what you dream about, right? This is what the illusionist has made a lot of people think what trading is really all about, right? That this happens every day. And it may on some time frame, on some asset somewhere, but chances are you're not going to be there. But this is what you hope for. And is all you did was what you were told. Chart told us to buy, so we buy. Diverged up and to the right, that's bullish. It's an obvious impulse top. You can see the horse got real far away from the barn, came back, and ultimately came back to 618. If you want to see another chart very similar to this, okay, so this is a crypto kite. I don't know. Don't know what it is. All I know is that look at the move that it made. So this is where, you know, you go into CoinMarketCap or any of those places, and there's always the ones that are moving and the ones that aren't. This one has been like a house on fire, obviously. And it's like the #1 rank as far as, you know, how much it's moved over a certain period of time. So what do I do? Because I'm an opportunist. Rico knows. I'll go, wow, I'll take 3 or 4 of those symbols and I'll chart them. Because I know they're overbought, right? It's just a matter of time before the whole thing starts to domino. We've seen this stuff many times, right? So use the 4-hour chart as an example. This up here is going to be more obvious all of a sudden. See this? Little head and shoulders up here. That gets my attention. See this shorter, the second lower top, lower high? Sell signal. Now, just like we did on the other chart, let's just draw some fibs. Take the swing low. There's your high. Where's 618? Right here. Same as the other chart, right? If that's my top up here, I could have dropped the fibs there. It wouldn't have made much of a difference at all. But ultimately, there's 618. So yeah, I kind of want to be short on, to 618. Here's the same chart. There's the swing low, took the swing high. Price is currently sitting on the 100 MA. And what's in here? The 200. Break one level, find the next level. Right? We do this all the time. I broke the 20. Oh, probably going to find the 50. Did it? Yep. Did it hold the 50? No. So it's looking for the next level. There it is. Basically tagged it twice for sure, and almost that first time. Is the T line and 5 EMA diverge down and to the right? Yeah. Telling us that it's unlikely that it's going to hold there because there's just so much momentum. And what do you think the next target is? Probably the 200 if it doesn't hold. And like this is a trade that I'm actually in. And from here. Right? But if you're using a fractal window to look at things, you're going to find that the moon and sun and stars will line up, and you'll start getting some confluence on time frame. So at some point in time, this big monster move was going to fade. And look, everyone, you would have thought this was the top a million times. We still don't know. It's just a trade. Is all I know is I'm short from up here. And am I still in the trade? Yes, because the chart's not telling me that I need to leave yet. Am I balancing everything out, looking at maybe shorter time frames to make sure that I'm still okay? Yeah, absolutely. What do you think I was looking at on these moves higher? Will my resistance hold for me? And if it does, down and to the right. Break one level, find the next. Look, broke the 100 and the point of control. Everything was still open, acting under a sell signal. You found the 200. This push up here got my attention, but it ultimately failed. Why? First touch has a higher probability, but because I had a good entry, I can wait this stuff out, right? But if I got in here or here, I'm less inclined to sit around and watch those, right? But because you get a good entry, you can do that. Or you can just, take it or reshort or add to your short. But the chart was telling you pretty clearly what was going on, and it's looking for the next level down. And so on and so on and so on. And this is an exit level. You haven't even hit the 20 yet. So
I got a couple of things really quick, Blunt. I want to give everybody who's listening right now on X. Let me drop your screen for 1 second, Blunt.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna bring yours. Yep. And then we're gonna bring this one up really quick. Shout out to the community, because honestly, without you guys, the streams are nothing. Me and Blunt could be up here talking, but if you guys didn't do what you guys did to help the message get out there, it would absolutely be nothing. So big shout out to you guys. Like I said, I'm gonna share this link right here. Actually, I got the veteran token link up. 1 second, let me get this link. All right, let's draw this winner right here. And yeah, we're gonna send you guys some cryptocurrency. You guys are absolutely epic. I know some people were asking in the chat, what's the bottom for BTC? That's one of the questions. And I know that Solana is one that they want us to check out quite a bit. So we'll probably check out Solana next or something like that. But yeah, shout out to the XPX community. Shout out to everybody. I do want to show you guys this post. It's already kind of cool just to kind of go into what we're accomplishing. This is veteran token, now using also the donation widget that XPX is providing to anybody. And like I said, you guys get to put your own branding on it. This one was the first one that he launched and it had XPX on there. But if you guys go to it now, you guys click on the link to donate. You guys are going to see it says veteran token. He's already raised some funds. He's at $61 out of 300. I was in a meeting with him before the stream to help him add about 50 more cryptocurrencies to the list of ones that you guys can donate. It could be $10, it can be $100. You simply just put $100 like that. Click donate. If you're somebody who wants to use this as a tax deductible, obviously you guys can fill out this receipt form right here, like that. You guys will get the email for what you guys did, and you guys can use that when you guys are doing your taxes. And so $100, hit donate. This is how easy it is. We're gonna do a little show for him, and also him using a tool. And you know, this is the whole community using it, right? We're doing big things, and then we're gonna pull that giveaway right now. But big shout out to him. And now if you guys go to cryptocurrencies that you guys can off ramp, we've added quite a few more. A lot of people were requesting for him to be able to have Solana on there. There's Solana on there. There's some Floki on there, some XRP, a little bit of everything. Honestly, the Avalanche people can tap in, the Tron network people can tap in. So whether markets are up or down, you guys can tap into the World Liberty financial communities. And this is not just veteran token or XPX token that's able to do this. If you're like I said, a cat token, or, you know, a project about cleaning up the earth, and that's your movement, then come over here and use this. And this would all be going into your dashboard, right? When you go to your dashboard and you check your balances, you're going to click over here from your donation widget. It's going to be held all over here. So you're going to be seeing everything that's coming in. And then later on, you can choose how to, you know, withdraw it, whether you're going to use your KYC card, your non-KYC card to off ramp that. So there's a lot of options right there for somebody to be able to have real world purchasing power and make a difference with cryptocurrency, man. We can't wield the markets up all the time, but it shouldn't stop us from doing some positive things in the space. And that's why another reason we're doing this giveaway, because the XPX community really got behind this. The community really pulled together, and I'm sure they're going to pull together on this one as well. And this one's probably going to, most likely, we know it's going to be completed, right? So let's get to the giveaway. You guys are absolutely amazing. Let's pull this. If you guys were listening over on X, make sure that you guys you got to come over to YouTube to be able to capture this. And that's how it gets pulled into this little tool right here from StreamYard. But let's go ahead and pull this. Shout out to everybody pulling. Look how many XPX people pulling up, man. Market's green, market's red. We're not just building and having red tape around the things we're building. Woo! Let's go. A gorilla in the space, baby. Let's go. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That's so good. Shout out to the gorillas. Shout out to Smart DeFi, and actually just big shout out to all the projects on Smart DeFi. Shout out to Feg Token, shout out to Noma Token, shout out to the Space Penguins. They're also going to be using the donation widget very soon, where you guys can help them out, you know, reach these goals a lot faster. And I think if we grind together, we'll shine together. You know, Bitcoin's going to do what Bitcoin does. You know, Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoin is down. Vitalik Buterin's Ethereum is down. Solana is down. BNB's down. But you got to keep your spirits up, man. You got to keep building. You got to keep networking. And anywhere that you can fill a gap for somebody else, don't make it hard for them, right? Just make it very easy. So, like I said, big shout out to the Space Penguins. They're on here as well. Amazing community doing donations. So you're going to see a lot more of that. But big shout out to the whole SD system. Have to do that. A lot of people I know pulled up, especially when a gorilla wins the giveaway. How can I not come over here and mention the gorilla itself? So big shout out to all of you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. Yeah, send me a DM, brother. You've been a winner before, and I'm rooting for you guys, man. You guys are definitely some winners. That's why I'm surrounded by you guys, man. You got to surround yourself around the winners. And big shout out to the Crypto Princess as well. I see she's pulled up. If you guys can, go give her a follow. Go check out her YouTube channel, and we'll do another show really quick, and then we'll do Solana, and we'll bring that up. But I'm actually gonna come over here and just show Blunt one more time, and like that, if you guys are just barely pulling up, we've seen a little uptick, like an extra 100 people just pulled up. So maybe you guys are missed out. You guys are like, who's this guy talking? Who's this guy dropping all his alpha? Well, this is the guy. Okay, the guy is at BluntFourtwenty. Give him a follow, streaming all the time, broadcasting. Join his Telegram group, and use some of these referral codes right here with some cheaper fees. There's going to be tons of bonuses on there. You guys, one of the hacks in crypto, not financial advice, is, you know, I remember during the bear market and when the bull market was just starting off, and right when the bull market is starting, they're giving out bonuses left and right. They're rolling out. They just want those. That's one of the tall tale signs that it's starting up, right? All the exchanges are just hitting up KOLs out of nowhere. Everybody has a referral link. Nobody has that during the bear market, right? But when I saw that uptick, man, I took advantage of all the bonuses across the board. You guys can do that too, and check out the ones that make sense for you, right? So let's go over to Solana. Like I said, big shout out to all the gorillas in the chat. I see you guys. Again, big shout out to the Crypto Princess. She pulls up so much. I watch her channel as well when I see her live. I just as much as like if you guys look when Blunt House is live, there's most likely I'm one of the viewers watching this channel and stuff, right? So I think the big talk right now, and a lot of people want to know, because we got our degens, we got our Solana traders, and Solana kind of moves a lot of the crypto space right now, right? A lot of people pay attention to Solana. Again, even when you look at Solana, you haven't missed out on too much. This little boring section right here on the shorter time frames, 100%. There's trades all over the board. I mean, you can find them on these time frames, but as far as you not wanting to go touch grass or go touch a mountain, you're not missing out on that much. The markets are still either going to have this break above this 50, right? That would be awesome. Trade into this gap. That's what the bullish people want to hear. Or unfortunately, we break past all these guys right here, and then do something like this, right? So, and that's why we're going to bring up Blunt, give you guys a little bit of a different flavor, a little bit of different seasoning. And that's what it's all about, man. That's what it's really all about. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring up Blunt right now. He's still right here holding in. He's like, man, this Rico guy. But let's go on to Solana right now. Let me drop this one first. I see how you got it, StreamYard. There we go. There you go, Blunt. Your screen is live. I think you might be muted somewhere because we can't hear you.
It helps, doesn't it? There we go.
Yeah. There you
go. So what's on your screen? So this is I use two primary platforms, TradingView, that probably most of you know, and then something called TrendSpider, which is ultimately does the same thing, just does it differently. It's a little more modern, maybe. Some dynamic AI built into it, and it's a pretty robust platform. But ultimately, you get to the same place. And this is the weekly chart of Solana. Looks very similar to Bitcoin, right? One wave down, second wave down. This sign of life isn't really something I'm overly excited about on Bitcoin's chart, or Solana's for that matter, for a couple reasons. One, we're not anywhere close to breaking the 0 level on our Z-score. So that's what this bottom panel is here. It's a Z-score indicator, and it has a dashboard on it. And the dashboard basically has benchmarks. So in this particular case, it's loaded with the SPY, right? The S&P 500 is the main benchmark. Then there's gold, XLV, XLK, XLF, and then the chart that you're looking at, which in this case is Solana. Why do I do that? Well, because I want to be trading the leaders, not the laggards. Make sense? So you can, like, if we look at the stock market, the whole market is basically being pulled around the track by 7 or 8 stocks, because that's where all the money is. Now, Solana, when you look to your left here, you'll notice it's in the number 5 spot, and it says 26%, and you'll see it be red, and then it says void. So basically what it's telling you is that the SPY on this time frame, or I should say Solana on this time frame, is underperforming by that amount. What's the leader? Gold. Gold's outperforming the market by far. So that relative strength not being there, that's what all this red is, and that's why this little line can't get above 0. Until it does, I'm not going to take it seriously. Give you an example. Come back here to where all this started. When you have that Z-score coming out of consolidation break 0 like this, and you produce a buy signal on our script, That is what I'm interested in. Or over here, where it produces a sell signal and you break the 0 level on the Z-score. That's telling you the relative strength is leaving, right? And this is when it actually gets serious. You print the signal and you break 0. So I'm not overly enamored yet with where this could go. I think there's still more downside here. Could we get a little move like this? Sure. You know, going back here to where you have those couple green candles, probably. Like that's normal, right? Nothing goes straight up and nothing goes straight down. But I hate to look at this gap to the right. Like you can see what you're holding on to here, a little bit of a shelf. When price moves down like it did, like so you have this impulse down and then you go sideways, that's not bullish. So that sideways was just basically saying, I'm tired. I haven't really figured out if I have it in me or not to make another run. Gave it a little bit of a go, couldn't do it. Failed breakout, right? Come back, take out the previous wave's lows, go on. There's nothing else in your way. So what did you do? You took out these ones too. But are you still just going sideways? Yeah. All this divergence in here, all this space is momentum down. So we're not out of the woods yet. And when you go to the daily, that's your opportunity, just like on Bitcoin, right? And this is the bait.
Yeah.
Right? This is the bait. That's like the big sling trap in there. Let's see what we're bumping our heads on. There's got to be something around here. Well,
we've gotten closer to 50 on one of the attempts and things like that, but you know, like you said, it's kind of like debate, and there's that potential there.
Yeah.
But like during this time, it's like that's why I've even been telling people. I mean, it's been weeks. I've been telling people, like I said, it's been sideways trading for 33 days, so it's been a while. I've been telling people, I'm like, nothing really has changed. You know, it's just sideways trading where it's still technically a downtrend, still bearish. I was like, until I really see something, like I haven't hit like where like you know, it's like everybody, you know, we got, you know, we're on this, and we finally broke that. It's like obviously I wish it was 2 weeks ago I could have said that, but now we're on day 33 and it's still, you know, technically the still trend is just going to the right for a little bit.
This is exactly the same setup that we showed on Bitcoin on the weekly at the start of the show, where you had your weekly T-line level, in this case is around 93 and change, and when you go to the daily, what's 93 and change? Right in here under the 50. So this potentially, and this is just how we look at it, analyze a chart. This is going to be the first attempt at the 50-day moving average since it broke up here. Those first touches have a higher probability of failure. That's what I'm waiting to see here. This could be a really nice trade on the 4-hour, right? You know, that's a decent trade on the 4-hour if you're a little bit left, but it's just, it's hugging. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little purple line in here, and that's the anchored VWAP for volume. And it just, in volume weighted average prices VWAP, it just doesn't want to leave it. One of the reasons I subscribe to TrendSpider is simply because of the anchored VWAPs. They work brilliantly. They really do. So let's just be patient, right? That's the hardest part, is being patient. We make our mistakes when we're not being patient. There's lots of upside here, but you have to make sure you don't be the first one to get your nose chopped off.
100% agree with that, man. Patience has been where it's at. I mean, it's literally, that's why I even said it's like, even we talked a little bit before the stream, it's like just setting the stop loss. But you know what? Some of these trades, like on the hour trade that I did on BTC, yeah, it was a boring trade or whatnot like that. But those are the trades that exist right now. There's nothing like just being explosively excited. So like, you know, you could actually set your stop losses and whatever like that. Go do whatever you got to do, because when you look at the daily chart, you can see how there's not been really anything exciting. You're just catching probably some little upticks or whatnot on these lower time frames, and there's there's trades that exist because I've been taking them.
Yeah.
But they actually, I've been waiting for them to be like so confirm that the average person, like you said, doesn't want to wait 3 days to catch a really good trade that you don't have to think about anymore, right? They're like, screw that, I don't want to wait 3 days. I want to watch, I want to do this now on a 1 minute chart. It's like, I'm good.
Whether it's 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, or 3 months, it's all relative to that individual and the time frame that you're trading off of, right? But one of the things that I just don't like is paying too much, right? I just don't like that. I'm not wired for that. So patience is something that I'm also not wired for. So you can see the conflict, right?
Yeah.
But this is a project called Xano, and I think you and I have talked about it before. Basically, if Monero was a blockchain, right, it would be like this. So it's a privacy blockchain, super secure and private and all that stuff. And if that's a concern to you and it's something that you're interested in, you'll probably stumble upon this thing at some point. The chart, however, is telling us a different story. And when you latch onto something that you like, you can find a million reasons just to buy the heck out of it, right? And that's not a bad thing, but it can be if you're buying at the wrong time. And this is a great example. Now you're going to see some white horizontal lines here. These are alerts for me, right? That's what the little stopwatch is, I guess. And they're there for one simple reason. If price comes and tags this level, I'd like to be aware of it. I'm not necessarily saying that's where you buy, though, but I want to see what happens to price when it gets down to this level. This next level, obvious for different reasons. You can see it's cutting across the bottom of these candles, the tops of here, and then the tops of here. So current price looks for past price. So that might be an area because there's a bench of past price for it to sit on that it might come back to. Because as much as I like the project, and I think this, the privacy and security is important, it's something that resonates with me, but you don't just go and start buying. Like, unless it's doing this, right? Unless it looks like this and you're trading on the north side of something and you have divergence to the upside, then yes, that's where you go long. But you don't go long in here thinking that you're buying a bottom. You just have to be patient and let the thing do what it wants to do. And you can see break one level, find the next, broke that level, it's found the next. It's just continuously looking for levels to the downside. There were no real reasons in here to buy, again, as it's trading below these levels. So use your alerts, whatever platform you're on, they'll have them. And point out those areas, and you might even forget that you put them there, and then all of a sudden one day you'll get an alert. Like if this area is a bottoming area, and I can get back down here, and I can see like all this divergence and stuff is still open, so I'm feeling I might. At least I'll have the ability to make a decision because I was notified that hey, it's reached that level. I may choose not to do anything about it at that time. I may wait. And yeah, how long a wait is that? Right? This is a weekly, several months. Right? But I'll wait several months to buy at $2 or $3 or $4 as opposed to overpaying at 15 or 16, then watching it sink for 4 months and then have it take another 4 or 5 or 6 for price to recover. I'm just generalizing, but that could be the timeline. Patience is really key. You have to be willing to just let stuff go. And that's hard for a lot of people. Oh my God, do you see that candle? Oh, that's the one. It's never coming back down here again. You know the drill.
Yeah, no, I do. I definitely do. Because I've been there, I've been there. And yeah, it's been nice actually taking it easy and not chasing so many things. I'm on some higher time frames, like, and I'm finding where like, all right, cool. It's actually kind of nice where you can almost just let it cook a little bit, right? And it's like there was like one day that I was short. I was like, I never thought the day would happen, but I was short on Bitcoin, long on gold, and it literally worked out perfectly. But it took like a whole week for both those trades to play out where they were both pretty decent. But not everybody wants to wait a week for the trade to play out. But lately, that's what some of these trades have been taking me. Like I don't want to deal with the daily. It's so choppy and anything can come out. Like you said, although we're doing what the chart is telling us, some of the stuff that's going on around the world, you have to pay attention to it somewhat because you just see it where it's having those initial spikes and stuff. And if you're day trading, then obviously it starts to become pretty relevant and stuff, as far as the day-to-day almost and things like that.
So for those that are trading through all of this, and basically what I'm saying is you haven't changed a thing about how you're approaching the market. You really need to be careful with the volatility and the safety part, really. You run stop, like I run a hard stop and a trailer. Like I don't play around. If I get ahead, open the trade, hopefully get ahead, drop a stop in. The plan is not to stop yourself out when you do that early on, but protect your principal. Be prepared to be stopped out though. Like small losses are better than big ones. And once I get ahead of the trade, we'll go back to this, then you start getting comfortable and you can maybe slide that hard stop down a little bit, right? So like on this particular trade, I have a hard stop somewhere, probably up in here, and then I'm running a trailer. And then as I get comfortable, I might drag that hard stop down a little bit just to lock in anything. But my trailer is not super tight because I want this thing to be able to breathe and not get, stopped out on a wick like this, for example, right? That kind of stuff. So you get ahead early, protect your principal, allow the thing to breathe, drop a trailer in. So ultimately, if it does melt, like that's an intended exit anyways, but I'm prepared. I'm okay to wait it out. I would rather have it, like we talked before, go on for a few days over a longer time frame than go through the stress of trying to manage a scalp, especially now, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, you're gonna waste your whole day trying to manage a scalp. You're better off just being very, very patient and getting a nice trade. It's been so like relieving actually. And like I was talking to you before the stream and we mentioned a little bit, like I caught a nice little trade and it was like a very just easy going trade. And it actually started to pull back and I got out of it. It's starting to go back up. But what's nice is like back in the day when the markets was just euphoric as all F, I would have caught that bounce again. Like, you know what? I'm gonna catch this little. It was like, you know what? I caught my green. It's 147%. I'll wait for my complete setup all over again, where all the stars align. It might be boring for 3 days or whatever, but then I get a nice, beautiful trade that I don't have to really babysit that much, and because it's just kind of all set up really nice.
Yeah.
There's temptations, man. There's, even I catch myself, I catch a rhythm of like, 3 weeks of just some really good trades. I'm like, man, I could do that on short. Go to the 15 or something. It's like, yeah, but then now you're just only doing this, you're not doing anything else because you're managing this trade, this scalp, because, any little bit of movement, because it's so wishy-washy, it can almost put you in fight or flight, right? It's like on the hourly, I don't feel as much like, oh my God, with the fluctuation as much.
This is the BNB chart. And, everybody in here can do what we're talking about today. It might not feel like it at first because all of this is intimidating. It's a different vernacular. you've been told that only professionals can do this and so on and so forth. This is really not all that difficult. Remember that it's a language. It's fractal, right? What you see on one time frame, you'll find on another over and over and over again. But it's also about levels, right? Because that current price is looking for past price all the time. And quite often on my charts, you'll see a horizontal line like this. And, coming back to today, we're going to talk about the line, but I didn't drop the line on the chart before we came on. I dropped the line there when price was retreating up here. But why did I pick that level? This is why. Because where you can line up, so you've got resistance here, then you got support, resistance, support, resistance. When you have that kind of consistency, it's like sliding a ruler, right, between these two levels of support and resistance. Those are typically areas that price, in the event that it can't find support at any other levels, will come back to. How's that? It's not an accident. It's not an accident. Current price looks for past price. Break one level, find the next level. And just for interest's sake, what are the levels? Well, there's your 20. So we know that when we're trading well above the 20 like this, this is a parabolic move. You know that. We all know this. And when we see these big parabolic moves, look, see how you came back and literally wicked the 20 on this big candle here? All of this gets eaten up again. Like we talk about the naked wicks, right? This is a naked wick. And it got exposed on the retrace. There's nothing in this wick to hold these candles up, right? That's why they can blast through there so quickly. But this gives you a real clear visual on how overbought this was, or how parabolic this move was. There's that big knuckling effect too, right? That you see before a pullback. There's your sell signal. Even here, 4 green candles. They didn't change trend. They're just green candles in a downtrend. That's all. And here we are. And what else could be floating around in here that we might use for support? Not a lot, eh? We broke the 100. So 20, 50, 100 have all been broken on the weekly. And the 200's not showing up yet. At least on this feed. But you don't think that this level that it created way back here was relevant? Darn right it was. And go back to... Oh, I think I took all these lines off, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I don't know if you recall, but we had these levels as price was moving higher up in here that we had dropped on. And price came back and actually tagged every single one of them, even though months before we were creating these levels. And you do this because you need a point of reference on the retrace. And as long as you're not trading or analyzing 200 tickers, and you've basically got, a handful or so, no more than 7, that you're going to analyze on a regular basis, you'll always know where price is. You'll always know. Because you're so close to it. This is the Dow, weekly for the Dow. There's your sell signal. That's last week's candle. Guess what else you did last week? You broke the 0 level on the Z-score indicator. So as you know, like I developed these tools, and when I was working on the Z-score and testing it kind of practically, what I did not expect was that I would get confluence with my sell signals and the Z-score, which I did. This is a choppy chart. Bitcoin's really good. Like, look up here. Right? Sell signal, break the Z-score. That's this whole move. So I can be bullish on this move, not only because I see that divergence down and to the right, showing us that the momentum is gone, but it also shows me through the Z-score that there's no relative strength. Right? These are just spikes. That's all this is, just a spike. You can see on your chart the resistance level of the 500 MA, which most people aren't running. Right? Most people aren't going to run a 500, and they're certainly not going to run 1,000. But because we believe in fractals, there's a reason that we do it. And this is why. So this is the 1,000 MA on the hourly chart. What's the resistance? 1,000 MA. There's always something there that you're hitting your head on. Always. So this move in here, does it have relative strength support? It does, right? And even with this pullback, like we showed earlier, it's still a buy chart. It's still working under a buy. Came back, slammed the 50 and bounced. But again, you don't want this to be a lower high or a lower, yeah. But this gives me a lot of the confluence. Actually, Rico, it's keeping me out of bad trades, for one, and giving me much better confluence and validation on the others.
That's really good.
And
that is really good.
When you use it like this as a dashboard, right? Let's just find another ticker. Let's use BNB. So BNB on the 4 hour is outperforming the SPY, Bitcoin, XLK, which is the technology ETF, gold, and XLF, which is the finance ETF. So it's fractal as well. Because that's how I trade. I believe that, everything is broken into pieces. Right? And to be able to use this on various different time frames allows me to see the rotation in what I'm trading. Right? So you can actually see on these different time frames how their placements are adjusted, which ones are gaining or losing relative strength. So right now on the 4 hour, BNB's in that first slot. You want to trade the first 2 slots, right? But if I back the time frame up and I start to notice on the hourly, I'm still strong, right? That's good. That makes me feel comfortable that I have that strength behind me. Now, I do have eyes, and I can see that the 1,000-day moving average is sitting there, and it's providing some resistance to us right now. So because of that, I'm going to pay attention to see if, we're starting to lose any relative strength. Are we waning a little bit? Not really. Still hanging on. So this is still bullish. 4 hours, good. 12 hour, probably also good. Yeah. I like the 12-hour chart. This is what, there was a time in my life where the only thing I would see is the opportunity to the upside. And as a result, I would miss a whole bunch of potholes in the process because I would be so excited for price to get into this gap. That's all I could think of. But now I've had, I slow myself down. Right? It's level by level. One thing at a time. I like the basing in here. Right? That flat trading is a sign. That's not a bad thing. This was just a trade. This so far is just a trade. But what we're hoping for, that you take out the previous wave's high, and then you start to get into the volume gap to the upside. And just out of curiosity, what is in front of us? So green candle at a major moving average that's producing a buy signal, that's a thumbs up. We like that. Okay, so we're even trading above the 50, this is good. And that puts this probably, yeah, that's your first target. So you want to take out this previous wave's high. And in doing that, that puts the 100 MA in play. Just remember though, is it the first touch on this time frame? We could be looking at an hourly, same thing. It is. Nothing in front of us. So that's going to be your target. And it will also be a place that you might get some resistance or a rejection. So if you were long, you're certainly long to here. And then you wait and see what happens when you get there. If there's momentum, if we take the candles off just for a second, if your T-line and 5 EMA are diverged open and to the right as you approach that major moving average, there's a higher probability that you'll move through it. If that makes any sense.
For sure. Makes total sense, man. It makes total sense, especially if you're waiting for a nice little setup, right? This is something you're waiting for that setup. And what's nice about waiting for the setup and the patience is that when you try to talk yourself out of your thing, you've waited so long for your setup and you got more confidence in why you did it, right? Yeah. When you're doing it off of just quick emotion, the minute those emotions change again, now you're changing your idea once again, right? So it's a lot better when you're waiting for these. I want to give a shout out to everybody pulling up. Zach Attack, we got Rare pulling up, we got Dynamite saying he's in a short, we got Candleman pulling up. Seems like we're getting a lot of people who are trading their attention on the stream, which is really good, man. That's what we're here to do, is give you guys some different views, and you guys do with that as you guys please, right? Whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's gold, whether it's oil. Like, I agree, a lot for a while, gold was taking a lot of that attention from BTC, where it was like I was like drooling over gold as I saw the way those candles were moving. I was like, you know what? And then BYD-Fi added, the gold pair and the silver pair on BYD-Fi. And I started trading those. And then, then they got no fees on BYD-Fi right now if you trade packs, which is like Saphir has said before, the gold version that you can trade. And I've caught some like really nice trades because it moves not as crazy as Bitcoin, So I was like, okay, I can handle this. It's it's boring, which is good. That's those solid trades, but it was where like if there was enough momentum to push it in one direction, you can almost count on it for it to continue that direction, right? Not all the time, but for the most part, you're seeing like pretty consistently, if it's on a higher time frame, if it breaks out, it'll keep moving in that direction because retail just been buying it up. It's, you check on shorts, social media, everybody's talking about gold.
Absolutely. And through this big move up, there have been times when all you heard was that you should sell your gold.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. And that stuff makes me absolutely bananas. Because that loud yelling makes someone who's not incredibly confident in their abilities yet, or in their investments knowledge, to often do something they shouldn't do. Right. And that's why you never hear me saying, oh, do this, do that, do this, do that. I give an opinion on where I believe price may go based on the circumstances that are on the chart and how they apply to the rules that we have and use to determine what price may do. But we're not going to sit here and yell at someone, though, you should sell your gold because, you know, look, this is what was happening. Remember back here in October. Sell, you should sell your gold. This is the top. This is the top. Sell your gold. Oh, look at those 2 wicks, right? Same level, sell your gold. Well, we just read charts, right? That's all we do. And this is a weekly. So, do you like buying at the 200 with some support? Yeah, that's a good move, right? That's a nice trade. Even if you closed it and, you know, if you're just doing what you're told, you're in and out in a couple trades in a week. Oh, well, but this one went bananas. But everyone on here was going to tell you to sell because you had 3 rotten weeks. And up here, another 3 rotten weeks, right? That's it. Sell your gold. Well, what does the chart say? What do we actually know about how price behaves on the chart? Well, we're working under a buy signal. Yes. At any point, did we print a sell signal? No. Well, then I guess it's still a bullish chart. Did we go sideways? Yes. Even in these 3 weeks here. That probably looked like a big top, right? But you have no idea what the next candle brings. So as convinced as people were that that was a top, the chart had something else to say about it. This was just sideways, back to an obvious level, which is the 20, and you bounce. Easily take out the previous wave's highs. Sideways, again, it's like a staircase, right? This one had everybody yelling at the top of their lungs. Did you bounce? Yeah. And again, you bounce again. These people will make you insane and they will cost you a lot of money. All that happened is that you took a buy signal and you rode price up and you should still be in the trade, even here. Like these crazy candles, we talked about the volatility before we came on. Like aren't these the perfect examples? You know, a massive extension wick way up to 5,600. And then the following day, you're down to 4,300 for moments, right? Like just literally moments in time. But even those big extremes, did they change trend in any way? No. Neither did these. Neither did this. So as long as the chart is telling you that you're okay, no matter who's yelling in your ear, you have to get to the point where you can believe in your chart and that it's not misleading you. Now, over shorter time frames, that's a riskier approach, right? Because the thing can change its mind in a nanosecond. But when you're looking at a gold chart like this and it's just straight up, why are you selling it? What are you doing? Right? And this is what you'd be looking at. You'd be looking at these longer term charts. Again, you only have a handful of things you trade, so you know them intimately. There's a green candle at the 50. Wake up in the night for those. This chart, the monthly chart, was telling you that you were okay. And yeah, there's a lot that can go wrong in a month. I get it. Are you a little bit overbought? Horse is a little far away from the barn, might want to come back to the 5 EMA and or the T line, even if it's just a wick, that's possible. But this trend is up and to the right, and this is still a very bullish chart. And I think as long as there's chaos in the world, you're going to see that these, gold and silver will remain strong. And when it's time for them to, whenever the panic kind of eases, can you expect a retrace? Absolutely. And this is why it's going to feel like the sky's falling, because all of this parabolic price movement higher spreads out your ranges, right? Those major moving averages that we use for levels on short time frames. Well, the same thing happens on the longer time frames. You know, if this was a 15-minute chart that went parabolic, you'd be like, okay, at some point, you know, it's going to happen. Well, the same applies here, just not as quickly. But,
Yeah.
you know, you look for the 20, you look for the 50, it starts all over again. But I think when all this panic eases, you know, that's going to be the next thing we're dealing with, is what sells off and how quickly it sells off. But we're in really funny times. Like, we really are. Like, I wouldn't want to have to be learning in this. It would be a nightmare. Again, BTC just doesn't want to. Very interested to see how this candle closes. But we're happy to take any requests too. So
yeah, absolutely. If you guys down below are listening, and thank you for everybody who's sticking with us, all the new listeners. I actually want to do Blunt something. I do this for him on the regular because it's good for him, it's good for the channel, and it's good for you guys because I got to do the social media stuff for him. I'm gonna come over here and show this for you guys over here. Show his page because there's like an extra 500 people from X listening, and
nice.
Maybe a lot of people that are going to listen later on, right? So I mean, why not do this?
Absolutely. And all our the streams that I do twice a week are on my YouTube page, which is on YouTube. Just search at Blunthouse TA.
And this is his website as well. You guys can come over here, give him a bother, you know, contact him. Also contact him on TradingView. There's a lot of cool things right here. And I think right now, you know, like, you know, we got our little intro, you know, the channel helping you invest in yourself, right? And it's like, yeah, it's cool to say that, but I think right now it's a perfect time for you to actually invest in yourself. It doesn't have to be that you're buying yourself a new Gucci shoes, or you're buying yourself a new car, or you're invest, you know, you could just invest in like educating yourself a little bit. And it doesn't have to be like you're making a monetary gain off of it right now. Like, you can give yourself a nice little cushion, be like, you know what? And I'm just going to show you guys really quick as far as, like, you know, the prices that we've been talking about, while you guys give us some prices down below on the daily chart. If all you've been doing is just investing in yourself and learning a little bit, you have not missed out on too much. This is a lot of just sideways action. So if you would have spent the last 33 days, you know, investing in yourself, whether it's tapping in with Blunt, whether it's, you know, whatever other channel, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I mean, whatever makes sense to you for you to win. I mean, that's all I at the end of the day I want, right? But, you know, the last, you know, 34 days, we, you know, all this sideways trading, all this, you know, we don't know if it's going up, we don't know if it's going down, it's going to the side. This is time that you can spend either touching grass, you know, investing in yourself, as far as, you know, educating yourself, networking, meeting more people in the spaces, finding out creative ways for you to expand your reach, not just within your chain that you're bullish on, not just within the spaces that you hang out in, but find ways right now to try to break out of your quote unquote echo chamber, because you won't be wrong right now to do that. So like that, when the ball gets rolling again, you already got all your chess pieces in the middle of the board, and the middle game is ready for, you know, that explosion, right? So if you guys got some tickers down below, like I said, we'll check them out. I'll show this one more time for all of you guys, and also I might as well show my page as well, man. It's a pretty solid page to go check out. Let's go to Rico Moneybags over here. This guy been here, man, since 2021, been grinding here with you guys. Look at that, joined June 2021. And for you guys who don't know, that was right after my motorcycle accident, man. Even back then, I couldn't even stop. I was like, I gotta do something. I gotta, even while figuring myself out, I still joined. But that June 2021, I mean, earlier in that month, I was in a horrific motorcycle accident. And I was like, no way, man. We gotta have some fun in this. We gotta get out here. So, man, tapping with this page is here for you guys. I shared it down below, and then yeah, let's go look at Let's see. I think we looked at gold. We looked at BTC. I think we covered quite a bit. Is there? Look, I'll look at gold like you were talking about just a second ago. Second ago of like how eventually it can get like where it's going to come back down. And I think a good example of that is Zcash, right? Where it had that just like explosive moment up, and everybody was like, "Oh, you missed it." They're trying to get everybody to rub it. You sucker, you missed it. But I mean, where's Zcash at now? And it's like, you don't have to chase a lot of these charts. There is another ticker you can look at, let it figure itself out. You can also just wait for this eventually to turn bearish and take advantage of, eventually it will turn back around, because we saw like even Zcash with all that bullishness and everybody, it was like super explosive. Oops. It was super, just like got everybody's attention. It eventually came on down just like everything else, right? And this is a very similar move. Like that's the thing, is like with this stuff is like you can look at a lot of different tickers. Eventually all this stuff starts to make sense to you, where it's like, why is this pattern very similar? And then we have a lot of this, and maybe we catch something like this on gold. But maybe not. Maybe like if these tensions continue and people see is that a good way to protect some of their value, they're going to keep loading up on gold. But Zcash has definitely pulled back from that explosive $777, and now it's on a real pullback. But Blunt, what do you think about Zcash? I think this is one we can cover that we touched on before.
Yeah, I covered it actually in the stream this week, I think. Yeah, let me just pull it up here. I know I have it somewhere.
All right, let me flip this around. We got Sophia saying Michi.
Yeah, so I have some levels on here that I had for Zcash as well. So the first two have been obviously taken out, and so is the third one. So this is the latest one that we've dropped on here at 164. So look, like it'll move up, push down, it'll move up, push down. Like this is a very pronounced sell pattern. I think it comes back down here.
So a little bit lower, huh?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I that's the thing with the majority of the market right now. It's like it's in this consolidation period, and it's like it could, things needed. There's still some work that needs to be done. We got. Do you guys think EGLD can ever make a comeback? It's down to $4. We got Blunt right here. Let's see what's up over here. What do you think?
Wow, there's not much left here, right? So like these are the things I think that everybody thinks they can take a chance on, and maybe they'll go parabolic and change your life. It's just, I don't think so. Like there's just not enough.
So don't refinance the house and put it on EGLD is what we're saying. No. Okay.
but what can you do? In all honesty, though, what can you do if this is something that you believe may do something, right? Just watch the 4-hour chart, right? Just watch the 4-hour chart. It's your on and off ramp to the daily. One, what you're hoping for is one of these moves is the one that doesn't look back. I get it. But use the 4-hour and trade that. And one day you just might get in a few candles early on something that really does move. And when it does, be prepared to take your money. Don't let that opportunity pass you by. So yeah, you can trade this on the 4-hour. That's what I would do. And then maybe I get lucky and it does take off. But, I understand what you're looking at, right? It's that flat level is just potential, right? What if it does that? And man, what could it do? I get it. But it doesn't happen as easy as that. But in the meantime, if you believe in it, trade the 4-hour and, monetize the moves that you can, long or short. And if you're on this, if price is trading like this on the south side of the T line and the 5 EMA, you stay short, right? You either go short, stay short, but you certainly don't go long. Right? Like this is what happens. Oh, I'm going to pick the bottom. I'm going to pick the bottom. So, you know, they buy into this, then they see this candle, they go all in, and what happens? Roll over. Because on the longer chart, it's still flat. So now we talked earlier. It's a wild one, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about, you know, you were talking about stuff going on in the world that may impact what we see on our charts, right? So, and there's lots of that right now. So one of them you can look at is Microsoft. You know, look at the daily and then look at the weekly. The chart I'm showing you is a chart of MasterCard. And, you know, this is where, you know, there's benefits to looking at what's going on around you. And sometimes it can just cause you a headache. But I have a theory on what I believe was happening with Microsoft and might still be in play. And same with this. And that whole sector of kind of category of stocks. And a lot of this gets, you know, it's where geopolitics gets into finance and the markets and the economy. And that's kind of, I believe, what's gone on with Microsoft. And I believe that's what's going on here. And again, it's just my opinion. But I believe what's happening with Microsoft is that they're going to lose a lot of these tech companies, the ones that are US based. They're going to lose a lot of their European customers. And that's what's going on because of new legislation where it's not just a repatriation of funds, right? We hear people talking about, oh, foreign entities selling US equities, right? Repatriating their money back home. But it's not just cash. It's data. It's all kinds of things. And in the case of MasterCard, it's transaction data. In the case of Microsoft, it's where the data sits. So if you're the French government, do you want all of your Teams meetings stored on US servers outside of France? Probably not. But that was never a problem until recently, right? There's some things obviously that have gone on that have created those responses. The other part is transaction data. So MasterCard and Visa are the primary transaction processors in Europe. But where do they store all the consumer data? On US servers. The European Union actually has to pay to get it. So part of the new legislation is to make sure that they're European payment processors that are storing European data on European servers. That's all relevant. It's all going on right now. And if you look at this chart, this is a very organized sell-off, right? This is the daily. Now, this sell-off's been going on since August. There's the weekly. Right, and I'm using the weekly charts because they take out a lot of noise and they're a little better for trend, right? But you can see up in here in August, this was a top. And then this has become, even on the weekly chart, a very organized sell-off. Now, let's just kind of go back to the old mantra, break one level, find the next level. You broke the 20, you found the 50. You broke the 50, you found the 100. Found the 100, couldn't hold it, you're looking for the 200. Right. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that's really important that we probably even collectively couldn't keep up with if we wanted to. There's so much going on behind the scenes. And I do think that it's starting to make its way into markets. So you have to trust your chart. So when I break a level, I'm expecting to find the next level. Okay, I retested resistance and failed. And then what did I do? Found the next level. And so on and so on. I think that's this. I don't want to fall into this gap here because you'll find the 200 for sure. And notice something since August? Late July, no relative strength at all. So somebody knows something in my mind, and I don't care what it is, right? I have a theory, but it's not really important. Is all I know is that when there's no relative strength, it makes it difficult for price to go up. And now you're starting to see it fail. Is it for the reasons that I said? I don't know. But I just know that, well, this is American Express. Weekly chart, same thing. There's your break of the zero level right in here on the Z-score, and then you produce your sell signal. That's confirmation for me. And this is a weekly. Broke the 20, found the 50. Broke the 50 with velocity, went straight through it. So there's a message in that. Found the 100. Notice this candle is all it's done this week. It hasn't even eaten the doji from last week, and it certainly hasn't tested the 5 EMA, the T line, or the 50. And when it does, it'll be a first touch. And if it comes back to test the 100, it's not a first touch scenario, right? You would have hit it 3 times by that point. And all to do what? Stay out of this gap. Falls into that gap, find the next level down. Probably in here, in line with the 200. So yeah, there's lots of things going on like that, that unless you're looking for them or listening or, taking in that type of economic type of data, that it would be, you'd miss it. You would just miss it.
Yeah. I've been finding myself paying attention. I don't like to get too caught up in it because I mean, like I said, I've been in spaces where it starts off as a conversation, turns into a debate, and now it's an argument. It's like, bro, I've been through something already. I know that life is too short to. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm not trying to make you a believer or to drink this Kool-Aid. I don't mind listening to opinions about stuff, but when I start seeing that, there's veins popping up and people are, really passionate about it, and they're almost trying to poke at each other to like hit like little low blows. It's like I don't got no time for that. Like I already know how short life can be. It's like we can huff and puff and all we want on these things, but that thing's made out of brick. We're not going to blow anything down. We're just going to be enemies. That's about it, right? So yeah, it's been pretty interesting paying attention to this. And we kind of talked about before the stream that, like, there's like this whole, like, everybody's feeling something right now. Like I've seen in TGs, people taking, touching grass, this, that, and the third. Maybe some of this noise is just too much with all these tensions and pulling people in too many different directions. Again, you're not wrong for wanting to zoom out and take a little bit of time to yourself and have some patience and let things kind of like almost where it lands on your lap, where you're just so certain. Like, lately that's what I've been doing. I have not been forcing anything, where it's just like the level of confidence just been feeling it so much better, because it's like, all right, regardless of the noise, I waited 3 days for this setup, and and it's now set up perfectly where I like it. No matter what's being said, I just got my thing. I got my thing mapped out on how I want it to play out, right? And no matter what's being said. And yesterday, and I'll share my screen really quick just to go over some stuff. I like to hold myself accountable. I love this community so much. Blunt, without these amazing people in the chat, man, it just be me and you drinking coffee and talking about TA. So
what's wrong with
that? I agree. But I think what they appreciate too from us, and maybe they resonate with, and is that that we hold ourselves like accountable, and we kind of wear hard on our sleeves and from our own mistakes, because people can relate to that, because nobody's perfect, right? And there was moments throughout this trade right here, this 1 hour trade, where here, and you're hearing all this stuff right here, here I was scared, here I'm getting scared, but I actually didn't close the trade. I'll do a screenshot later on where you guys are going to think like Nancy Pelosi told me to sell the exactly when this thing came out. But really, I was just using this thing as like, hey, I'm gonna trade from right here to this upper value range, and it played out like that. Now, this is another area where I normally, when the markets were euphoric, I would have traded this breakout again, and maybe some people can trade those because now I broke back over the 50. But I've been avoiding the chop. This is where, like, I've been kind of hanging out and just being able to, I got my trade done. I don't want to catch the chop. I don't want to even I've been able to ignore it using a couple tools. I want to have a conversation with you on the back end too with this, because this has been helping me. I think we could integrate this in many different ways to help people out. But this is what this kind of looked like and what I was looking at. You see, you got your buy signal right here. It rolled up this super trend, went all the way up. And the minute it got on this side, that's it, I'm done. Right. And this is where a lot of times I would get so chopped up because, maybe I would get a sell signal right here, and try to trade this sell signal only to get stopped out right away because it's coming right back long. And it's nice to be able to get a trade this long, get my exit. Yeah, there's could be something here and I could have stood in the trade, but being able to ignore these choppy zones that normally would mess me up has been super significant for me, because now I can wait for, okay, am I going to get another long signal, or is it, a short signal coming down to the downside and stuff like that. And now I just, hey, I got my trade. I'm out of that. Let everybody else figure out the chop. I don't want to do it no more. And that's been really healthy. But and right here, this is where like I had to stay stoic right here, because you get your red candles trying to scare you and stuff like that. Right here was another moment where it's like trying to scare you right here. And even right here was like these wicks kind of happening, but it never really turned into the gray, whereas like this chop zone coming into play right here. And I think it's the chop that actually you were showing on the indicator that you use as well, that helps people stay out of like this, like where it's like making you go long short, or getting stopped out in too many sections because it's so choppy. Like I'm sure a lot of people are getting stopped out on anytime there's like just some choppiness. It'll take the like confidence out of you to really take the next trade, because it's like I just swung, I struck out, I swung again, I struck out. And if I swing one more time, I got to go sit on the bench. So let me hold on to this bat for a second before I swing. And it's like avoiding the chop, at least for me, has been something that's been helping out quite a bit. And I know you spoke about it a little bit in this stream with the tool on the indicator that you've been using, where it's just easier to ignore that choppy zone. Have you dealt with that over the years, or like evolved to just ignore, let it either do the breakout or the breakdown, right? Like just ignore the section where it's trying to figure itself out.
Well, I started by making more mistakes than I should have, right? Like that's kind of what everyone experiences. And after getting kicked in the teeth enough times, you're like, okay, you realize that this thing is bigger than you are, right? Like all of your brain on the best day isn't going to figure this thing out. And I think it was that started my journey down a slightly different path, where the let the market come to you thing became important, but the mechanics of what price was doing on the chart was meaningful to me. So for example, the Fibonacci's, the fractals, and the filters, right? Those were developed by actual people, Fibonacci, Bachelard, Mandelbrot. These people are responsible for financial math that's been with us for centuries. So I do believe that the filters work. I do believe that fibs work. I do believe that fractal analysis works. And I can kind of demonstrate that it does, I guess. But I became more rules-based over time to deal with all of that. So like the tools that I've developed, the signals indicator that gives you the buy and sell, and then we've incorporated a trade management component to that. So there's a stop level, a trailing level, and then 3 take profit levels. You can adjust all of those to make them work on the time frame you're trading, and you can automate it if you want it as well. But the reason I added the trade management component in is because we've got a lot of people now understanding how price moves, the ebb and flow, and they're getting good at staying out of the chop and taking the right signals. But the trade management part was something that, because trading and charting are 2 different things, and to incorporate the trade management tool inside the indicator is really helpful. So it gets you in the habit of taking profit at appropriate times. So maybe your first take profit level is going to be, I don't know, 20%, whatever, and you can take X%. then your next level is going to be whatever you set it at, 40%. And then the third, again, whatever you set it at. And that way you get in a habit of letting your system run the trade. And what I mean by that is, okay, you get a signal to go long and you have a 5% stop. Well, if you get hit, you get hit, right? The idea is to get a good entry. That's why we train for this. But don't start moving your stop level down just because it looks like it might get hit. Right. So
yeah,
just shut up and take the small loss and wait, and wait to fix it. But it's when you don't do that it rolls over, and then you're underwater and you never get out of it. But by getting into the habit of taking profit at the right time, you don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You literally don't think about it. And that's where you want to be. Right? You just want to go, like, let's say you place the trade at night. You wake up in the morning, and I do this all the time. I'm either going to be stopped out, still open, or closed because I hit my target. And if I try to get on the right side of something. If I'm not on the right side of it, I'll try and get out as quick as I can. But you just don't know what you're going to get when you wake up, right? Like, that's okay. Right? It's like, cool, I did that when I was sleeping. Wow. And that's what you want it to do. You want it to get mechanical. You want it to get boring because it's not emotional. That's right. So,
yeah,
block out the noise. And right now there's nothing but noise in the market, and it's real easy to get sucked into someone else's tornado. It really is.
People are projecting left and right. Oh my God. They can start a new drive-in and charge people at the gate with how much they're projecting left and right and stuff. It's like, bro, I don't want to hear that stuff, man. Just because you're fearful in the market, is like, just let me do my thing and let me be confident in my thing. But I think my fellow gorilla right here said it best. Just stick to your plan and not get emotional. And over time, I've even gotten better since we first started streaming to where we're at now. And I like to document this, like, this is our journal too, these streams and
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like it's on the internet forever. And it's like, I'm also documenting my journey as far as like, a lot of my strategies, how they change over time, how I've, been able to hold a trade a lot longer. And, one of my favorite indicators that I've used, and I'll bring this up, and we're getting close to closing now, everybody. We got like about 8 more minutes to the stream. We'll wrap it up at the 2-hour mark. Keep you guys wanting a little bit more. But even like one of my favorite indicators right here that I used for so long, and it helped me through a bear market, you could see a lot of this on, off that, I was able to manage and trade really good into, going long, then okay, it's out, but then going long again. Okay, but it's out, but going long. And it's like, wait a minute, and now as I'm getting a lot better, you can see something where, like, look, to see this 200 moving average, the minute it broke above this, it was pretty solid the whole time. And even it touching right here, it was still good. And maybe this is the second mouse going to get a nice amount of cheese right there, but I'm not sure. But now it's easier for me to let these trades play out where I've always been in a where I could find a good trade. Sometimes what it is you see something change, or you hear something that's changed, and you start touching stuff, right? And then you come back and you look and you're like, oh my God, I was actually in a solid trade. I took a lot less profit. I cut myself way freaking short because, you're compounding maybe an indicator spooking you a little bit with what's being said out loud. And really, if you can clean it up and make it as simple as this. Ever since it crossed the 50, you're kind of good on this trade down here. This was the first time. Look at all this trade underneath this 50 moving average, which this is a lot of this clean trading that I've been doing. The minute it got it right here, this is changing character. And like I said, it's the hour chart. Most people don't want to wait this long, but it holding above the 50. I was able to hold this whole time. And these trades have been making myself, like, I've been feeling really proud, even with the market conditions being not that happy, the sentiment being very, boo-hoo. This is the part I'm talking about investing into yourself to clean this up a little bit, to sharpen your skill. And there's nothing wrong with making mistakes and then figuring it out later on. Like, and you'll find yourself making it cleaner and cleaner. You'll find yourself that you were the one overcomplicating things when it just could have been a lot cleaner. It's you, it's me,
Yeah.
you know? Oh my God.
And that example that you just gave, where, you know, you waited, it got above 50 and then it took off, that run was with very little risk, right? So you waited for it, and it may have been painful at first, right? But you'll get, you know, that'll get better. But when you do take the trade, you're taking it with much, much, much less risk.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, you know, it doesn't have to do this, but, you know, after seeing this on the hourly chart with BTC, it's like, all right, this is a long period. And yeah, it's painful when you're used to, you know, meme coin euphoria, you know, lower time frame trading, scalping this, scalping that. This, you got to be malleable, man. You got to be able to adapt and pivot with the type of market conditions. And you, like you said, honestly, this is one of the trades that, hey, you know, this is what it looked like, everybody. This is what this fugazi little boring trade looked like. It was like, hey, I'm okay with this, right? And if it came down this way, this is what I saw, you know? And I was like, if it came and broke down these paths, I'm out of here, right? But guess what? It did that. Once it hit it, I was done with it. And it's like, all right, whatever it does after that, I'm good with. But yeah, that was what this kind of looked like for me last couple of days, which was really nice.
The key is to eventually become indifferent to price, right? You don't care if price goes up. You don't care if price goes down. It's just a chart. You're there to monetize the chart. There's plenty of time to fall in love after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So much time to fall in love and get your heart broken all over again, to fall in love all over again. Well, Blunt, we got 5 minutes left. I think, you know, let's give everybody, maybe those new people who pulled up, or, you know, the stream is still actually climbing. It's pretty nice to see people. I appreciate you guys so much engaging. You guys are so amazing on how you guys help this channel grow. And honestly, one of the reasons why there is a channel and why we do this, you know, I'm sure Blunt can just chill in his own, you know, house and do his own thing. And, you know, a lot of people can in this space, but we want to help people out. But for those that are new and don't know you, Blunt, you know, where can they find you? You know, some of your information, your time for your streams. I know you got some streams that pop up from time to time, and what are some of the times that people can tap into these streams and find you?
We do them Tuesdays and Thursdays. I do them at just after 4 p.m. by the time I go live, and they're on our YouTube site. They go live from there, and I typically upload them to X after now. The tools that we use, like the indicator tools on TradingView, they're private scripts. So the best thing to do is just follow me on TradingView. It's at BluntHouseTA. Connect with me, send me a message saying you want to try one of the scripts out. I'm happy to, you know, let people do a little bit of a trial. And then afterward, the signal script with the trade management and then the Z-score, they're $99 a month. And I think you'll find that the signal script earns its keep in no time at all. Like, really, the things are all developed to be used to make money, right? They're not things that are just going to give you information that you then have to figure out what to do with. The signal script that has the trade management built into it, it's designed to monetize. That's what it's there for. Monetize the chart, mitigate risk.
Absolutely love it. And if you guys are interested in making sure you guys stay tapped in, I'll say once again, come over here, give them a follow right here. Make sure you guys keep the bell notification lit and just keep an eye open. Honestly, like, just check on this from time to time, because X has been really acting up. You know, we're seeing that across the board, whether you're doing spaces, broadcasts, some of the stuff's not going out. They got us over here begging for shares, begging for likes and all that stuff, because, you know, we're trying to get the word out there so everybody can learn some of this alpha. And this is the part about investing in yourself. It's so important to, I just don't want people to miss their opportunity in this .com moment that we're in. You know, it's going to figure itself out no matter what. But, you know, these markets can beat people up so much where they don't even want to take a look at this no more. And it's like, You know, we want to pay attention to this stuff. This is about, you know, not just us, but maybe our family members in the future that we can really, you know, hand some things over, whether it's the wealth that you generated or whether it's the wisdom that you're going to hand over. There's a lot of opportunity right here, like never before. And it's just really easily accessible compared to other times prior when it came to trading and things like that. We got it right at our fingertips. It's just a matter of you guys actually, you know, wanting to learn it and going from there. I got a Telegram link for you guys. I'll share right now.
Yeah, that's a great way to kind of get exposed to what we do. Just jump on our Telegram chat. There's no cost to be in there. And you'll usually find me in the voice chat in the morning and quite often in the evening. And I'm more than happy to spend time with people. And that's kind of why we do it. I was very fortunate when I first started doing this, that the program that I took and the gentleman that I consider to be my mentor, my course was comped, right? The woman I was with at the time was a financial journalist, and she had the opportunity to take this technical analysis program. And I went along for the ride. And I'll be honest, it was a nightmare. It was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. And I was, you know, next to my girlfriend, I was the second youngest person in the room. And the ace in the room was an 82-year-old woman who had been trading her money since her husband passed away about 20 years before that. And I was like, sorry, hon, I got to go sit by her. Like she knows what's going on. And I'll tell you, she just kept it simple. She just did the stuff that we talked about, you know, just ride the wave, take your money, ride the wave, take your money. Don't get caught up in stuff that's not important.
100%, man. 100%, man. This has been a fantastic stream and, you know, hugely thanks to you and to this amazing community that pulls up and what we're able to do together. I'm always, like I said, a little bit more excited because I know sometimes there's just so much noise where it's like, I don't even pay attention to it. I was like, I'm just going to wait till I bump into, and a lot of times if you guys join that Telegram group that I posted in the chat, you guys will see me in there. And like I said, when you guys see him live on X and you guys see maybe there's one of those viewers that you guys see or on YouTube, sometimes it pops up. I get an alert because I'm subscribed. Like you guys should be with a bell notification. One of those viewers on YouTube, most of the time is me. I know because I'm watching like when the viewer count is growing. And I was like, I have it on while I'm doing something else, paying attention to it. So it's a great way to reset a lot of the noise because he's just going to tell you straight up. And I really appreciate that from you, Blunt.
Well, listen, I thanks for having me, and I'm always happy to come on and join you. So anytime, you just let me know. I appreciate it.
Sounds good, brother. Sounds good. Really appreciate you guys. Well, everybody, this was a fire stream. Definitely check on all the links posted, whatever projects we talked about. All the links in the chat are valid links. Go check them out if you guys are listening to this later on. This was absolutely amazing. The markets are doing what the markets are doing, man. We've been in this consolidation period for a little bit. We talked about in the stream how you can find trades on the shorter time frames. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but you're seeing where we're just kind of waiting things out, right? So if you're touching grass, you're not wrong. If you're waiting for your trade, you're not wrong. If you're letting the markets figure itself out while you clean up the backyard or whatever, you're not wrong. So be patient. I think it's one of the biggest lessons of today, and you'll find yourself a really great entry or avoid, a really big headache. That's another big thing. It's not just about finding the entry. Sometimes the best trade is like, hey, I avoided all this noise and all these bad trades and avoided trying to push water uphill, right? Yeah. So that is massive in itself right there.
Sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't make.
I promise you guys that, man. I promise you guys that. So thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Share this, even though we're about to wrap it up. Also, I make shorts after these live streams on YouTube, and they're posted on YouTube and X. If you guys see them pop up, man, engage with them. YouTube loves our shorts, and that's where a lot of the views come in, new viewers. Big shout out to all of you guys that have been pulling up and popping up from all the shorts. But if you guys see it pop up, make sure you engage on the TikTok and the YouTube shorts that I make of this stream later on. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys can't do that, continue to come back, experience the abundance of money with me. Until next time, you guys know what it is.
So your bag's backed up against the wall, and the bandwagon's falling right off. what you gonna do